As a professional photographer, I had always been drawn to the enigmatic and the unexplained. My camera had captured moments of joy, beauty, and sorrow, but nothing could have prepared me for the series of unsettling images I would capture one fateful summer. It all began when I received an assignment to photograph a historic, long-abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town. The mansion was a crumbling relic of a bygone era, its walls shrouded in mystery and whispers of the past. I was intrigued by the opportunity to capture its faded grandeur and the secrets it held. On a bright summer morning, I arrived at the mansion, my camera equipment in tow. The air was heavy with the scent of dew-covered grass, and the sunlight filtered through the overgrown trees, casting dappled shadows on the mansion's decaying facade. As I began to explore the mansion's interior, I was struck by its eerie beauty. Faded wallpaper peeled away from the walls, revealing glimpses of a grandeur long faded. Dust-covered furniture lay in disarray, frozen in time. It was a photographer's dream, a place where the past and the present seemed to collide. I set up my camera on a tripod in one of the grand rooms, the sunlight streaming in through broken windows. The mansion's silence was deafening, broken only by the creaking of floorboards beneath my feet and the occasional rustle of leaves outside. As I began to take photographs, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. It was as if the mansion itself was watching, its history and secrets lurking in the shadows. But I brushed aside my apprehension, focusing on capturing the beauty of the decaying mansion. It was only when I returned home and began to review the photographs that I noticed something unsettling. In the background of every photo I had taken in the mansion, there was a faint, ghostly figure, a shadowy silhouette that seemed to defy explanation. At first, I dismissed it as a trick of the light or a flaw in the camera's sensor. But as I continued to review the images, the figure became more distinct, its presence impossible to ignore. It was as if the mansion had revealed a hidden secret, a spectral presence that had been lurking in the shadows all along. I couldn't shake the feeling that the figure was watching me, its ghostly form haunting the edges of my photographs. Its features were indistinct, a swirling mass of darkness that seemed to shift and contort with each image. But its presence was undeniable, a silent and unsettling presence that sent chills down my spine. Determined to uncover the truth, I returned to the mansion, my camera in hand. The figure appeared in every photograph I took, its presence growing more ominous with each click of the shutter. It was as if the mansion itself had become a conduit for the spectral presence, a place where the veil between the living and the dead had grown thin. As I delved deeper into the mansion's history, I uncovered a series of chilling stories. The mansion had been the site of a tragic and mysterious death, a death that had never been fully explained. It was said that the spirit of the deceased had never found peace, and that it had remained trapped within the mansion's walls, its presence a lingering reminder of the past. With this newfound knowledge, I returned to the mansion once more, determined to communicate with the restless spirit. I set up my camera in the same room where I had first captured the figure, and I began to speak to it, my voice trembling with trepidation. "Who are you?" I asked, my words echoing in the empty room. "Why are you here?" As I spoke, the room seemed to grow colder, and I could feel a palpable sense of unease. But there was no response, only the eerie silence of the abandoned mansion. Desperate to make contact, I continued to take photographs, hoping that the figure would reveal itself once more. But as I reviewed the images, I realized that something had changed. The figure was no longer distant and indistinct. In the photographs, the figure had drawn closer, its shadowy form looming in the foreground. Its features were still hidden, but its presence was undeniably menacing. It was as if the spirit had grown more powerful, more determined to make its presence known. I knew then that I had awakened something malevolent, something that should have remained undisturbed. The mansion had become a gateway to the other side, a place where the restless spirit had found a way to exert its influence on the living world. As the days turned into weeks, I became increasingly obsessed with the figure in the photographs. I couldn't sleep, haunted by the spectral presence that seemed to follow me wherever I went. I could feel its eyes on me, its silent and relentless gaze. Desperate for answers, I sought out a paranormal investigator, hoping that they could help me understand the nature of the spirit and how to banish it. The investigator arrived at the mansion with an array of equipment, determined to uncover the truth. As we conducted our investigation, the mansion seemed to come alive with a malevolent energy. Shadows danced on the walls, and the air grew thick with an otherworldly presence. The investigators' equipment malfunctioned, their reading spiking to alarming levels. It was then that the figure in the photographs revealed itself, its form materializing before our eyes. It was a grotesque and nightmarish apparition, its eyes filled with a malevolent hatred that sent shivers down my spine. The investigator urged me to leave the mansion, to flee from the spectral presence that had been unleashed. But I couldn't tear my eyes away from the figure. It was as if I were drawn to it, compelled to confront the darkness that I had unwittingly awakened. With a burst of determination, I recited an incantation that I had learned in my research, a ritual to banish the malevolent spirit and seal the mansion once more. The room seemed to tremble, and the figure let out a blood-curdling scream as it was consumed by a blinding light. When the light faded, the mansion was silent once more, its oppressive presence lifted. The figure had been banished, its spectral form vanquished by the power of the incantation. As I left the mansion behind, I knew that I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, that the figure in the photographs had been a malevolent spirit trapped within the mansion's walls. I had unknowingly set it free, but I had also been the one to banish it back to the other side. The experience had left its mark on me, a haunting reminder of the dangers of delving too deep into the unknown. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, some secrets better left buried, for the darkness that can be unleashed is a force that should never be underestimated.